Hello everybody, welcome back to Ines Cake Tips and thanks for having me. Cake decorating, as we all know, is very joyful business. But having said that, all sorts of problems also comes with that. If you don't know how to deal with those problems, your flowery joyfulness turns to a nightmare and the tears will take over your smile in no time without any kind of warning. As cake decorators, we are dealing with people's very important event. And because also we have to work around the people's time schedule, we cannot just turn around and say, sorry ma'am, I can't deliver your cake because the cake is tumbled on the way to delivery. I'll see you tomorrow. So it is not really possible. But fact of life may happen sometimes. There's quite a few common problems like that that we can only learn an expensive experience when it's happened. So today we are going to talk about how to prevent cakes tumbling during delivery. Let's start talking about something we all learn by physics in the school. And there is a certain sort of like expressions for that, but I don't remember exactly. But I can just emphasize a couple of different points that I want you to understand. So if I put my sort of like this pen on my finger here, I can balance it because of this weight is more here and then less here, so I have to be point on that left hand side to balance, just like any kind of scale, right? So if I move my finger, it goes like this, and if I move this pen like this, it goes back to the same point. But if I make a little hole in the center and I can turn the pen, it will stay wherever I turn it. All right, same thing is for large cakes or whatever the object is. So I have an example cake over here. So let's say in this cake there is a heaviness here, there's a heaviness here, there's a centerpiece here, and then also there's extra centerpiece at the bottom to make the weight much more accumulate at the lower part. So, but there is one imaginative point that I want you to think about it. So if I have the ability to hold this point, something with a string or anything, all right, I can turn this cake any direction, any kind of direction, it will stay wherever I left. So that is the center balancing point. All right, so let's put in this drawing, imaginative, that point here, all right? So imagine this cake is like, whole thing is a real cake, and then I'm guessing just the center point will be somewhere here, all right? And let's call this A, all right? So A is the balancing center point. So if the cake is more heavy at the base, and lighter on the top. Like for example, let's say we have these two tiers, the dummy cake, and this tier is a real cake. It will go down, right? It will be here. And if there is a dummy or foam cake at the bottom and more heavier cake on the top, it will go also in higher position. So that is A. Second thing is the touching base. The touching base is not the base of the cake. It's actually between legs of the base. So this between this and this point is the touching point, all right? So that is let's say we call B, all right? And also there is a kind of imaginative line that goes straight down. So if you if I take a string to this pen and attach to it and I'm holding like this, it will go down exactly the center of the world, all right? So that is the point of this, it goes all the way down. And this one, we call this C. All right, so then we have to think about a triangular. So if we have this center balancing point is here, we will have a triangle here. All right, so if we take this cake, for example, start bending, start like making sort of like a waving on the side. All right, in one point, nothing will happen for a while, but it comes to the point that the cake will tumble. All right, where is this point? Where is this coming from? So if the balancing point is this point here, when we turn the cake like this, as soon as this line passes through one of the corner of the touching base, the cake will be tumbled, right? So how we can manipulate that? If we can bring that weight point down, which is what I said, like the heavy parts at the bottom and then the lighter parts on top, you can manipulate that cake will be much more stable. So that means if the customer is talking with you and then they said that I want to have part of the cake is a foam cake, so you have to insist that the foam cake comes upper part, so the weight point goes down, right? And then this is a kind of manipulation in your hand, but sometimes customer insists to have the other way around. So the other thing is what we can manipulate ourselves without any kind of involvement with the customer. We have to increase the touching base size. All right. So how we do that, I will explain you next. I'm sure you heard that from me before. I don't want to talk about myself too much, but in fact that I am really quite a long time in this business, and then gone through quite a few thousand cakes that in the past. That more you work with this business, and it's more things happen. Like bad things happen, good things happen. So every kind of problem will teach you something or push you something to find out the solution. So one day I remember we had quite a tall cake and very expensive, and then a lot of time consuming been done before, and we couldn't deliver ourselves. I wish that I can be sitting in the truck and holding the cake from base, but it is something illegal. First of all, you can't just be inside the truck and holding the cake. You must be sort of like a seat belt or something. And then we didn't have, so we just only rely on the driver's ability. And then on the way there was a slope down. So when the car goes slope down, the cake will be like this. So as soon as this point is closer to one edge, it will be more vulnerable. The cake will be more vulnerable. And then something happened that he had to brake. So when they brake, then the cake will have a bit more push, and then everything tumbled. So it is a kind of my nightmare at that time. My tears taking over my smiling face. So I don't want to talk about too much. But that expensive experience teach me something, that I have to solve that problem forever. So never happen again, right? So the first solution I thought about it was piece of wood like this, couple of them in a kind of baguette, and then there's a holes in the middle, and then screw goes through here freely, so it can turn on itself, but it can also go through here and then screwed at the other base. So we have in the store all kind of bases, like average base about 45 centimeter, but we have 50, 60, even 70. So I take my largest cake board. The problem is there is legs inside, so the legs are not sort of in the edge, otherwise you see the legs is ugly, right? So I have to put the legs a bit more inwards because of that center post, that long-threaded screw also coming out from the center. It has to be like not touching the base. So what I do, I take a couple of those woods, maybe 3 or 4 of them. So I place it on the side over here, over the bigger board. Of course, this sits on the bigger board first, over here like this. And I put this screw in, just touch down, and I use my cordless drill, zoom inside, it's grab the other board, and it will hold this side. So I repeat that 1, 2, 3, or 4. The cake is completely secure. And now what happened in that case, the touching base will increase. That means that triangle increase, and then the cake is not going to be tumble. In that case, like that day, if this one delivering like this, it wouldn't be happened. So it's a learning experience. But we did that more often. I have like 4 wood become 8 wood, and then screws and drills and all those things. It has become like a little bit of tedious. So like I tell the guy, do it please, and he touched the decoration, and other problems happen or whatsoever. So I had to think something else, which is this device. I did it myself, and I use it all the years, never happen again. This is my cake mount. So that is the increase the size accordingly. I have actually from this board a couple of different sizes, and that is the medium size, and I explain you now how I get there. I probably go to hardware stores more often than the cake decorator suppliers, so I find quite useful stuff over there. But having said that, please, there's nothing to do with the food, the hardware store, etc. You have to be very, very careful and very responsible what you do, because you don't have to contaminate the cake with some strange materials or whatever. Make sure that you know what you're doing, and then you can balance it however it is. So these are the small little bar clamps that is used for mechanics or carpentry or whatever, not for pastries, all right? But since that we're not going to touch the cake with this, only just touching the board, where I allow myself to use it. So this little clamp has got something like this that you can remove over here. When this one is out, like that, you can take this and remove that part. Here we go. So that will make me possible to push this inside here and then go to other sides and then attach this one again, which I did. All right. So that become like a flexible cake clamp or cake mount or whatever you want to call, so that you can make it different sizes like this, and then for larger cake and also smaller cake. All right. And also when you look at the underneath, you see that where I put the legs most extreme outside. So that means that in this cake, the base, maybe the legs are touching around here, I will increase to twice amount. So it will increase the touching base tremendously. That is the allowance to get tumble is very, very sort of like unlikely. All right. So let me show you now how I do that. So there's a little button over here. I push this and make it up like that. All of them. All right. So I'm sure you understand how is this board done. I just take a grinder or a jigsaw, make sort of this slits over here so that it can go freely inside and move back and forward. You can go a bit more in the middle, but not too much, because we're not talking about cake this size, we're talking about cake that size. All right. So then what I do, I take the cake, this one, and put it in the middle. Carefully, without breaking anything. So after that, I turn the cake possible areas. So this is possible, that's possible. That's not, because too much decorations in there. So I turn the other way around. Okay, make sure that all areas is possible to do it. Yes it is, yes it is, yes it is. So then I come here, press the button, go all the way down, and just squish a little bit. This one here, squish a little bit. Done. And then also here, it's done. So I can just take this cake like this, lift up with the board, or bring the board first to your car and bring the cake there and then do everything's over there. It is very, very secure, and I can deliver the cake wherever I want. I want to go the mountains up, mountains down, doesn't matter. It's nothing will happen, guaranteed. So let's call this cake mounting platform. That was my tip of the week for you. And I would like to do time to time this kind of videos more, like problem solving solutions about that throughout my other experiences. I hope that will be useful for some of you. God bless you all. Thank you for watching me. Till the next tutorial. Bye for now.